Hello, my name is Merapelo Letebele. I'm the host of the Selalelo program affiliating with Movement in Omaha for Racial Equity. Today, I am hosting 3 young ladies from Botswana who will share with us their experiences about womanhood in Southern Africa, in Botswana, in the 21st century. So basically, we're just going to have a little chat about how you guys are finding life as young women, trying to make it in life, and what the challenges are, what you like about your lives, what you hope for, what your aspirations for the future are. So you can introduce yourselves.
In alphabetical order.
Oh, no. We start by age, as per African culture. So, Bonolo, take us away.
Okay, my name is Bonolo Baleza. I am 26 years old.
What do you do, Bonolo?
I am in banking. I'm a banker, and I'm also the founder of a book club and a gifting business. That's about it for me.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. My name is Amuchinani Wendy Bafana. I am 24 years old. I am an investment professional, so I work in the private credit space in Botswana for an impact investor.
Hi, my name is Fidel. I am 23 and I am a finance professional in the financial services industry of Botswana.
How are you guys doing? How are you finding life, your professional life, even your, a little bit of your personal life? How are the prospects? What are you hoping for? Or where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
How old will I be in the next 5 years? I'll still be less than 30. That's what I know. So that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's interesting from going from being a student to being a working adult. I think I still see myself as like a student sometimes. It only hits me sometimes. I'm a full-grown adult that has like bills to pay and responsibilities. It can be daunting because, life has no stops, no pauses. It's a constant movement of one problem to the next, one happy moment to a sad moment. But, navigating that, at first it was all about climbing the corporate ladder, but now you kind of understand that the other things that are more important or that are equally as important. So yeah, that's pretty much me right now.
Fidel.
The biggest thing for me right now would be elevating myself, elevating my education. So I'm trying to get 2 degrees. So hopefully in the next 5 years, I will have completed with that. Hope to begin by end of this year. So I'll see where that journey takes me. I might be an entirely new person by the end of it. So I might have different interests and might not even want to be in the corporate industry anymore. And we'll see where that goes. I'm just excited, riding the wave.
Miss Bonolo.
Okay, for me, I think that right now life is just coming in waves. I'm realizing parents said was actually true. So it's taking each day as it comes, but some days are just heavier than others. And right now, we're just learning how to ride the wave, like Amma said. And in the next 5 years, I think I'll still be in banking. I'm not too sure, but I would love to be in a different country completely and just to be pursuing that. And as for the book club, I hope it's making an impact by then as well.
Okay. So now I am a different generation from you ladies, and we are, I think, the last group to struggle with patriarchy in its rawest form in Botswana, in our culture. I was born right at a time when the traditional life was coming to an end and the modern life was coming in. So obviously, we have different experiences, and I'm just wondering if you guys are aware of any inequalities between, the genders, especially men and women in Botswana. Are you aware of that at all? Have you heard people talk about it?
I think mostly in the corporate spaces, that's where we get to see it a lot. So
Yeah.
there are very, very visible differences there, or shows of inequalities there.
What kind of things are you guys seeing? Are there more men than women, or are men holding higher positions, more men holding higher positions? What's going on?
Yeah, so for me, like I said, I work for an impact investor. So I think there is like that disparity in terms of like what you're saying, women in power. And that is I think it's just across Africa. It's not even a Botswana thing as much as people like to say, but like I think just in general, in terms of ownerships of companies or females sitting in exco or even at a board level, there's not a lot of representation. And it then stifles that diversity, because if it's only men making decisions, they're making decisions for men and they're not really that inclusive. So you then see that there's a lot of testosterone that you need to deal with, especially in the workplace, because in power, there's a lot of men. And, in most instances, for your voice to be heard as a woman, you have to then tap into the masculine side of yourself, which then takes away from, you being a woman, So yeah, I think for me, that's been my experience in the workplace.
She covers it all for you guys? Okay, so like,
Yes.
How did you become aware of it? Any one of you can jump in. Like, is it just so visible, so blatant that, right there in your face?
It's visible.
Mhm.
It's even with the conversations, corridor talk in the workplace. A lot of the conversations are around how one guy is in control of everything, the big boss. Even though sometimes, well, in Botswana now in the financial service industry, you find that they've tried to have women mostly being the MDs or the CEOs of companies, but we know that they don't act alone. Their decisions are supported by mostly men that are in their boards or in their executive teams. For me, I've seen it stand out as a young individual who's also actively looking for other opportunities of work. I'm seeing that a lot of my male counterparts get preferred in terms of job opportunities. I think also people think that young women are a risk because we're in childbearing ages. So they probably think, giving a young woman, empowering them with money, they might think of building a family and you're losing out on that work power, I don't know, but that's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. Manolo, you have anything to say?
I think it's also just evident in the way that when it comes to things like salaries, you'll see that there's the same role for men and females, but men will get the higher salary or the higher end point of that salary as opposed to females. So it's very evident in that as well.
That's kind of sad. When I was your age, I was a journalist, and I worked for the Botswana Guardian and the Midweek Sun. And I was one of the few females in the private media space. And the owner of the two newspapers that I worked for hated women. He was a misogynist, and I think he was also homosexual. And he just hated it because of the fact that he said, no, women just get pregnant and they want you to pay them while they're staying at home. So I understand exactly what you mean. And it also shows that nothing has changed since 1993 when I was doing that, But anyway, now a lot is happening on the world stage. I'm pretty sure that you guys are familiar with the feminist movement somewhat. It may not be strong in Botswana like it is in other countries. And I'm just curious, have you heard of the 4B movement, the Korean feminist movement called the 4B? You never heard of it?
Not in depth.
Yeah, apparently the birth rate of Korea and Japan it has just like dipped to very, very low levels. The women there have decided that they don't want to have children anymore. They don't want to get married. They're just doing their own thing. And it has, inspired like similar movements in other parts of the world. So I just wanted to find out if you guys are aware of that, because I wouldn't want to be accused of trying to influence you in any way. So the next question is, how is the dating game in Botswana? Do you find that women your age, younger and a little older than you perhaps, are having negative experiences? Are you aware of any dating violence in your circles, your friends, your cousins, your sisters, and things like that? What's happening to Botswana women currently?
I think especially with our age band, or I'll speak for my age, so the early 20s, I think for me it's kind of difficult because I'm in a space where I out earn a lot of my peers. That means I out earn a lot of my male peers as well. And that is something that men don't take lightly to because they either want to date at par or below. Not all men, but some men have, a superiority complex where they want to be superior to the counterparts, to their partners, and having someone a partner that earns equal or more than you, to them is just damning to their masculinity because they just feel like, what am I able to provide her that she can't get herself? Which will then scare them away in most cases. And I think even just over and above my age group, I think it also goes with women in senior roles. A lot of them are not married or are divorced at this stage. And it's because of the same issue, because they somewhat wear the pants in their relationships. They don't always end well. I don't know what the English word for it is, but I have it in Botswana. But yeah, there's no cohesion in the relationships that they have, because they're showing up in their masculine by having more power and, financial prowess, I'll say, not power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also just feel like social media has ruined our perceptions of what relationships should be like. So we just feel that there are things like red flags, there are just things that we're not going to accept. If your partner has less money than the next person, you're just gonna leave them or have a certain preference according to what you've seen on social media. So just right now, I feel like dating, there are some genuine people, but most people they have an idea in their head that they're chasing. So it's not really great right now. The dating pool is in the gutter right now.
In the gutter, huh? Fidel?
I would like to speak to the violence. I'm maybe not my age group, but those in the late 20s into the mid 30s. We are seeing a lot of stories where there's a lot of passion killings. Maybe they are fueled by some of these points that you have raised. And I don't think it's spoken of enough. You just hear that someone has been killed, and most of the time, it's by their partners. So I don't think it's sad, and I think it's fueling a lot of women to decenter relationships in their lives because they see that their lives are in danger if they could, allow themselves to be taken care of by men. Yeah, so it's a very dangerous scene right now.
So last week, just before that holiday, there was a guy who killed two of his children. And I think towards the end of the long weekend that you just came out of, another one killed 3 of his kids just because, they were having disagreements with the mothers of their children. So, and, it's been going on for at least a good 20 years, even almost 30, between 20 and 30 years, that we've been seeing a lot of violence, intimate partner violence in Botswana. And honestly, the cases go before the courts and they take long to get resolved. And I know that convictions are always secured in a lot of the situations, but I never get to find out the extent of the punishments. We just know that somebody's in jail. Sometimes they go out on bail and then they go and kill somebody else again. So I think women are an endangered species in Botswana. But do you have any idea how long all this violence against women is being, how much it is being punished? Do you think it's enough?
It's not enough.
Okay.
I think I want to circle it back to power. If you are in an organization or a country that is led by mainly men, if we are just electing men to be our representatives in the community, they are out of touch with security, the need for security for women and children in that country, just because they're thinking about themselves and what it is they can get best out of the country. So I don't think that the laws in place for the convictions, for the therapies that these murderers are going in for, it's not much resources are being put into that at all. Because like you said, someone will get into jail, be on bail for 1,000 bula. I'm sure in this day and age, we can all call 3 to 5 people and have 1,000 bula in an hour. So it's very unfortunate that the government or the laws are prioritizing different types of crime to have more heavy charges or penalties than murder or abuse. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
I think enough is being done.
I think I agree. No, I genuinely don't. I think even it goes like Fidel was saying, it doesn't even have to be murder. I think just with sexual assault victims, they don't see any justice. I mean, we would benefit from having things like a sexual offenders list, because like you unknowingly pass these people in public, not knowing that you are like at risk, because it's not like they literally just get a slap on the wrist and then they're out. So I don't think enough, like the laws or there's enough justice for
what do you
women
think
in that
about
regard.
it?
More stern laws and
more women in power.
Okay. I want you to tell me, what do you think would be a fair penalty for whether it's sexual violence, intimate partner violence, rape?
Jail with no parole. Yeah.
Bonolo, what do you think would be here's a very interesting thing. You know that in America, for instance, in the United States, a lot of Black men are imprisoned, incarcerated, more than any other racial group. And, usually the judges, the jury, and the police are white. So it's a racial issue. So with us, it's a little bit different because we are an all-Black country. So if somebody's being sent to jail, or if more men are, getting stiffer penalties for rape, for instance, it's not because they're being racially profiled or unfairly being sent to jail. You know what I'm saying? Because we are just like the same people. I thought it was just a little interesting tidbit to just throw out. Anyway, let's move right along.
I just wanted to say that this might be a bit controversial, but I think the reason in which, especially in our culture, that they don't take certain things like sexual offenses that seriously is because of the culture that's been perpetuated even in marriages, where you're told that your husband basically owns your body, and even if you don't want it, you still have to give it to him. So it basically then seems like it's not a large offense, and this is why you'll see that people are getting like 2-3 years on a rape charge, or not even serving anything. They might be getting like community service, or if that's where they're just told, go for therapy. But it's coming from that culture of where basically women don't own their bodies, I
actually have a theory that if you look at our culture, whenever we talk about African things that are happening in Africa, you can never discount the cultural aspect. There's a legal aspect and a cultural one, and you find that. So I always tell people that the way African men treat their women, it's the same thing as slavery. You know how people used to acquire slaves. People used to go raiding parties for slavery. They used to abduct women and take them for themselves. And when you become a wife in the African culture, it means you have to do all the work in the home, taking care of the children and just basically doing all this work. Sometimes you have to take care of your mother-in-law who's ill, your own mother when she's ill, and we are not getting paid. Whereas Botswana men, every time they step out to go and do work, it's paid. It's paid work. You know what I'm saying? But with the woman, you have to do everything for everybody for free. And that's exactly what slaves did. So I don't know, do you have a reaction to that little theory of mine? And do you see it, or do you think I'm overshooting it?
I agree with
I
it.
believe it. Oh, sorry.
No, you can continue. I was just saying I agree with it.
Yeah, I think it still is there. It has lessened in its intensity. I do think that in terms of like gender roles, it's not, especially, well, maybe it's still ingrained in us, yes, but like it's not, from my dating experiences, the men I have been with have not been, these stouch masculine men, that macho men that want women to be in the kitchen all the time, that believe in gender roles. I think there's moving away to understand that whenever you are in a relationship that is a partnership, it's not where one person has this role and then another has this role, that it's, it's a give and take, both ends.
Yeah, because you guys are the younger generation.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me something. Where did you get your idea of womanhood, or how did you become the person that you are now? What were the influences that inspired you to decide to be the woman that you are becoming, or you have become? Do you think does television have anything to do with it? Social media?
Yes. So I think media has a large large role, especially in your early upbringing. I think because a lot of us were raised in front of the TV, our ideologies of what a woman is and what she should have at a certain age. I think, I'm not sure about Bonola and Fidel, but I even had like a timeline that I would be, I'd have by 20, I'd finish my degree, 21, I'd have I'd buy my house, 25, I'd be married, 28, I'd have my first kid. And that was really largely because of the things that I was watching, because everyone just tells you that, by 25, you have to have your life in order, but you're still very much a kid at 25. So I think, so that TV does, media just in general, let me not even say TV, just media in general plays a large role in shaping our ideologies of what a woman should be and who we then who become as we're growing up, or the things that we have in our heads. And, you grow up and then you have to start rewiring your brain to be like, okay, this was a bit unrealistic. I think for me, in terms of what has shaped me, like I said, I'm a Jesus girl. My faith has really played a large role, especially in the past few years, in shaping who I become and just my values, and understanding what my purpose is in this world. So that's my piece.
Okay.
Yeah, I
You
think
guys
just
are taking long to jump in. Yeah, go on, Ms. Bonalo.
but also the people that raised us, the females that raised us, also rooted to who we are today, because the things that we value are because of our mothers, just everybody had a contribution. It's just that now we are learning to forgive ourselves for where we're not at yet, because thinking you're 25, you need to be married. Your mom was married with 2 kids at 25, and you're still here, still trying to figure things out. So I think the people who raised us really had a huge impact on who we are.
I think I spent a lot of time thinking about the woman I'm not trying to become.
That's good.
There's just so many. I'm not trying to be like, hey, I'm not trying to be like that lady on the news. I'm not trying to be like that girl on social media. That I know. So, of course, I've had influences I'm an only child. So the only woman that I ever really knew is my mother. So I have my mom, my aunts, my grandmothers. Yeah. And my friends. So I think I grew a lot of influence from there as well.
As young women growing up in Botswana and living in Botswana, do you think that the battle has been won? I mean, I don't think you guys are aware of the gross inequality that used to exist, because it doesn't exist anymore. We have new laws now that actually outlaw. In 2010, I think there was a law that abolished what they used to call marital power. Marital power used to say the man is the head of the household. And, the men in this country, if they were married, they could dispose of family resources without even including the woman in the decision making. But the woman couldn't do anything without her husband. If you went to apply for a piece of land, a land grant from the government, the man's name had to be on it, all these crazy things that used to happen. And it had been going on for so long. You can imagine from the time Botswana got her independence in 1966 until 2010. People thought it was just fine and dandy that the men must control the family resources, right? So I know that that's not part of your world as the new Botswana women, but I'm pretty sure that you are aware of the struggles of women throughout the ages and throughout the world. So if you get yourself, your circumstances, and those around you, do you think that the battle has been won? Do you think that Botswana women have the equality that is enough to make their lives the best possible lives? Just because of the fact that we don't have any laws restricting us, you know what I'm saying? You know that there's a social aspect that is still pulling us down. But otherwise, do you think that women have the freedom to be who they want to be?
We're getting there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're a very highly privileged country as compared to other countries. Our problems are not so much legislation. It's more of a mindset thing. That I think
a lot of
we have.
social engineering.
It's a lot of social engineering in our part. It's not so much on the legislation. I think we even complain sometimes that, what about the boy child? Because there's so many initiatives that have been centered around women and, female empowerment currently just in everywhere you go, there's that. It's more of a mindset thing, and it's not even only on the male side. I think even on the female side, we still have women or just people that feel like women shouldn't work, or women that don't want to work, that just feel like, I don't understand why people are fighting for my independence. I would have been a housewife and I've been happy. So yeah.
Okay, now somebody alluded to the issues surrounding safety a little earlier on. As a Botswana woman, do you feel safe to walk down the street? Do you feel safe when you are in your home?
No.
Not on the streets. Not on the streets. At home, maybe yes, but that's because I have an alarm. I have security guards right outside my gate. I'm not so sure if I didn't have those things if I'd feel so safe. We live in a scary world where being a woman is not easy. I mean, one wrong move. I don't want to lie to you. When I'm driving at night, there's no traffic light that I am stopping at night because I just don't want any problems. I'm not trying to experience anything contrary to my current life, to peace. So yeah, so no, I don't think we're safe walking on the streets at night. I wouldn't advise.
Or even during the day, because we mustn't forget that we're in Africa and we still have some ritualists around who believe that body parts of women could empower them in any way or help somebody win elections. So we know that every election season in our villages and the towns and cities, it's public knowledge. It's known that no kids are to be playing outside without guidance. As a woman or young girls from school or from work, try walk in groups, so that you can at least fight off these people. It's a scary time, especially during elections. Even during the day on a quiet street, you can be gone.
Yeah, I think even past like election year, walking during the day, men can be very aggressive with the catcalling, and when you don't go like accept their advances, they can be very aggressive towards you, insult you. I remember there were cases. I'm not sure if you guys remember the time where at station you couldn't wear something that was too short because men would just then undress you or just, assault you, and you're just really going about your day. But these people are just so bothered by your presence or bothered by you being a woman, because that's really what it gets down to.
Yeah, even in my home, and I got mugged literally 4 gates away from my house. It was broad daylight. You get to realize that we're really not safe. I don't know. When was that?
It was 2014 or 15. Yeah, 2015 or 2014.
That's bad. Today I watched a couple of TikToks about some young ladies around about your age in South Africa. There's a new type of robbery being committed in South Africa where guys find ladies, maybe in a restaurant, and then they offer to pay for your meal and things like that, and you exchange numbers because they're so nice, and one day they invite you out for a date, and then when you are out with them, they'll be like, okay, I'll come and pick you up, and then they drive around, then they come up with a story, oh, I have to go and collect money from my father's business or whatever, and while you are riding with them, then they rob you, they take your phone, and when they find your banking app, they're like, give me your PIN numbers and whatever. Have you guys heard of that?
No, but also why are we trusting strangers like that? Why?
No, after a little while, they're going out on dates. So
they gain your trust. They're date swindlers.
This is why I said we're living in a dangerous world.
So I was just saying, please don't go on dates, guys. So anyway, so what are your future prospects? Are you enthusiastic about the future, Bonolo? Are you looking to get married?
I feel that I am now that I've experienced a partner who knows exactly what he wants, a person who's kind, who's considerate, and he made me believe in marriage again, because at some point I just felt like our traditions are just too much. They're to be too much for me. I won't be able to handle it all. So I am looking forward to that part of my life.
Oh, now they know. That's why, yeah, I do want to get married if it's in God's plan for my life. I think the constitution of marriage in its true form is a beautiful thing. I think the problem is like in modern day society has just ruined it for a lot of people. But the coming together of two people to really, drive each other's growth and grow individually, grow together as a family is just a beautiful thing for me that I want to experience for myself. So yeah, I am looking forward to that.
And we actually spoke about it last night.
Okay, what about you, Mel?
Some days I think I'd like to get married. Some days I'm like, I might just want to start a revolution of women that get old by themselves.
Okay.
But
Well,
I think as only child, I feel, I don't know if it's the right word or if it's too strong of a word. I feel obligated to grow my family's lineage because my parents just decided to have one person. That's too much pressure.
Actually, now that you used that word, the Korean ladies are saying we are ending lineages. So they're like, no, we're not going to grow this lineage of these, they say they have a lot of kind words for the men. And apparently that patriarchy is just as bad as it is in other African countries. So yeah, I thought it was just interesting. But
When I thought, sorry,
go on.
I was just going to say that I got to realize how bad it was in Korea when I was reading some of the blogs and they were talking about how even just the banners they had in the protests that was saying no, how can I put it in a sensitized way? So most of the men take pictures of women in public restrooms. When you're not noticing, they take videos and pictures of you. If you're wearing a skirt, they try photograph you in hotels. A lot of women that travel alone, have tips on how to look for cameras in hotel rooms. So imagine your safety just compromised like that.
No, but at least hearing that you three ladies saying you're looking forward to having families, raising your own families, I think there's still hope because it's actually very, very painful to see a society just like disintegrate and where women now don't even want to deal with men at all. And it is not without good reason, but it's a very painful thing because then the future is very much compromised. Like in Korea, they don't even have, first graders sometimes in classrooms. Like they haven't been giving birth to young children to a point where so, so I guess there's still a little bit of hope. Family, women like you still value, family life. I think it is a good thing. And one last question before we close. Have you ladies ever attended a Khotla meeting? But let me just explain what a Khotla meeting is to our audience. In our traditional administration setup, we have village meeting places where decisions are made. That's where people get information on whatever government information that may be available for communities. So usually people just congregate there. The village chief calls a meeting and everybody is free to attend. So you ladies, have you ever attended a Khotla meeting?
No.
Yes, I have.
Who has?
I have.
Gonol. Okay. Where was that and what was it about?
So the first setup that we have is in our organizations. We just have those to not lose our culture, but to have them as our safe spaces in a way. And then the other one was in our village. It was just announcements, basically, like we were saying, just to let the village know that this is what's happening, this is what's being planned on, and this is when expecting it to be all done, and this is how it's going to affect us as the people.
Nice.
Do you know of any female traditional leaders or rulers in Botswana?
Yes.
Yes.
The reason why I'm asking you this is because yesterday I interviewed a lady in Manyana, the village that next to mine, and she's like a sub-chief there. It's a lady that I used to work with and I know her. And there's actually 2 sub-chiefs in Manyana who are female. And there's another one who is supposed to be officially coronated, I think in the next few months in Tamaga, another village which is very close to mine here. And there's a lot of backlash. A lot of men are saying very, very unkind things because they say that it is against the tradition for women to become tribal leaders. I've been fighting off a lot of men I actually have a Botswana history group where we discuss all these things. I just wanted to ask, do you guys know that it started in 1976 when the women were first allowed to get into Khotla meetings. The Khotla is the place where all the rules used to be made in pre-colonial times, and that's where the village leaders met with the members of the tribe or whatever, and they would discuss things, they would pass laws, they would preside over criminal matters and things like that. Can you imagine that it was only in 1976 that women were allowed for the first time in Botswana to attend? I was a year old when that was happening. So I'm just trying to say, I'm putting this out to you so that you know that it wasn't that long ago that we received any form of significant consideration, yet we are bearing the children that are taking this country forward, and we were never considered. And I also mentioned the fact that it was only in 2010 that the laws were reversed that used to say that women were children. Basically, we could make decisions. So I want you to take it upon yourselves to inform yourself of things that happened not so long ago, just so that you can see that whatever station you are at life, so many women have been through a lot of bad things, so that you can value whatever form of comfort, security, or those kind of things that you now enjoy. You must never forget. And you must also, if you learn those things, you can use it going forward to guard yourself against an encroachment of those kind of things that take societies backwards. Okay, that's just my parting shot with you ladies. You don't have anything to say?
I thought Bonolo was going to go. I feel like I'm always the one who's speaking first, but anyway.
No.
I'd just like to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss and, just engage in this conversation. Obviously, I think you become more aware of your privilege when we discuss these things, because like you say, it's not so long ago when I wouldn't be able to sit with you here because, I would have different duties and roles to, basically. But what I hope for the future, hopefully soon we'll have our first female president. I mean, African countries have started with that. So hopefully we will have one soon. One that is well qualified to be not just a female president, a well qualified female president. Yeah, hopefully is that what we get. That's what we get. Sorry, fingers crossed.
I'm grateful for this platform and just the opportunity to be able to engage on such topics. I know in South Africa, the copies, because we don't really always appreciate the people that came before us. We always have these movements of I am because you were, but never really understand what other females or the people who came before us had to go through for us to be where we are, to even be in the spaces that we're in right now. So I'm just grateful for that, and I'll definitely take it upon myself to appreciate their journeys more and just take it forward with me.
Thank you. You got any closing remarks for us?
Yes, I am grateful for this platform. Thank you for the invite. It's great to be a young woman in Botswana who has a chance to make a difference. So I think I'll also take it upon myself to nurture others that are coming below me. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Our program was sponsored by the Movement in Omaha for Racial Equity. They deal with anti-racism. And as you know, that racism is a very big topic of a gross style of inequality. So we in Botswana experience life a little different, but we still experience inequality of a different kind all the same. So they were kind enough to allow us to air our views and especially talk to you young ladies, just so that we can put a finger on the pulse of young Botswana women and see what's happening on the other side of the world. So this program will be posted to the MORE website. I'll send you links and you can invite your friends to watch it as well. And thank you very much for honoring my invite. It's been a pleasure listening to how the young ones see life. So thank you very much and see you soon.